Hi there makers, it is Jo here from Minerva, and today I am doing a little hacking video or a learn to sew video where I show you how to put a keyhole feature on a top or a blouse. If you've got a favourite blouse pattern that you love using or just a simple top and you want to add a little keyhole and a tie, or a tie and a little ruffle, or a keyhole with a collar, then this little hack and pattern draft will help you to do that to many of your patterns. There are a few things to consider, so check out the original neckline of your top. If you've got a square neck, it doesn't really work because you've got corners and then you'll have a round curved keyhole, which sometimes looks a little bit ajar. If your top already has quite a low neckline, then consider where your keyhole will be and where you'll get that little cutout. So think about tops that have quite a high neckline and you want to keyhole around here. Just because it's got lots of options on the neckline, I'm going to use New Look 6483. It's a real classic pattern. It's in a lot of people's stashes, I know that. And it's got lots of different views. So I'm going to use view E, which is the floral one in the top corner, the pale one with the flowers, because the neckline is high, but there's plenty of scope here and space to add the keyhole feature. You can also put it on the back of view E because the back neck comes up quite high, so you could have, instead of a slit and a button, you could swap that out for a round keyhole shape. View B would also work as well, so that's got a wider shoulder. View D would also work. That's got a slightly narrower shoulder coming right in. It exposes more of your shoulder area. That would work. View A with the sleeves would certainly work. View D has that slightly more squared neckline, so that's the one I probably wouldn't use off this pattern for this hack. Your keyhole doesn't have to finish with a tie, you could finish with a button if you want, so that might be where you make your fabric considerations. So if you use something drapey, like a viscose challis, then that will make a really beautiful tie. You can make it quite slim and it can be quite subtle. Or you can make it in something with more structure. This is a tencel lyocell twill, so it's got a twill weave in it. It's just a little crisper, it holds facings really nicely, so I would use this one for the facings, or if I wanted to do one with a bound edge, I would use the challis to get a different kind of drapier tie. There are two techniques for this. You can either cut your keyhole feature in your top and then create facings that mirror that feature, so you will have a completely clear open keyhole shape that doesn't have any interruption in it at all, so that might be something to consider with your pattern print. Or you can use a bound technique where you switch out the facings. So if your top ordinarily has facings, you could take those out. You could cut a piece of fabric on the bias and you could put your keyhole in the back or the front, but you could bind it, which is a slightly different technique, and I'll show you that one second. Okay, first up we need to change our pattern. So I've traced off my New Look views so that I can show you a bit more the keyhole feature rather than all the other indicators that are on the pattern sheet. This is view E. Yours might look slightly different to mine because I've made a full bust adjustment on here, so my arm side might look a little bit different to yours. The bust is in the correct place, and I haven't drawn around here because this is the area that I want to be adding the special detail to. There's two key things that you need to know here. One is your seam allowance for adding the facing, and mine's going to be 1 centimetre, and then I need my 1 centimetre tie that I'm going to put here. So that top bit of the top is all going to be taken up. That facing will be flipped under and that space will be used to add my tie. So I don't want to take my keyhole shape right from the edge of the pattern, because otherwise I've got nothing to attach the facing to and I've got nothing to attach the tie to, and before I know it my keyhole is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So my keyhole needs to start from here. Now you can draw this shape however you want, and if it's got a flatter bottom it will have a longer bottom to your keyhole. If it's curved, you'll have a more curved teardrop shape. You might want to draw one out on a piece of paper, fold it in half, open it up and find out what shape you like. Don't forget, whatever shape you make will be reduced again with a seam allowance. So make sure it's plenty big enough. I think that one's going to be a little bit too short. You can put the seam allowance on to help you understand what size you're going to get. You can draw that and transfer it onto your pattern. Once you've chosen your final shape, draw it in so that you can see it. And you'll see it's got this flat bit and then the keyhole. So essentially that's how you add the shape. Now we need to create a facing that mimics that shape and also matches up with our back facing. I'm using Swedish tracing paper, so it might be tricky for you to see, but I'm going to use a Sharpie. A Sharpie's not great on Swedish tracing paper because it sort of bleeds a little bit, and also you get quite a thick line with a Sharpie, so if you're doing any pattern drafting it's good to use a sharp pencil. But I'm doing this so that you can see. So we would like this shape and the shoulder and the arm side. And here we want to be careful because we don't want to have our actual cutout shape line. We want the one that has a little bit of seam allowance applied to it. We can mark on where the tie goes. We can mark on where the facing is going to be attached. I'm going to measure the underarm on the back, which is just over 6 centimetres. And now I can make this as deep as I want. You want it to be deep enough so that when that's tied up, it doesn't blow out and let the facing pop back up through. You can find a gentle curve to create your facing. This bit here needs to be on the fold. This bit we will cut. Okay, so we've got the front and a facing, the back and a facing, and my keyhole feature, and I'll show you this bit at the end of cutting. Okay, remember I said these 2 points have to be treated differently. So the one on the fold, and I put a great big cross on it to stop myself cutting it. So this was cut on the fold, but I don't want the top to be on the fold because that's going to be where the tie is so that it opens out. And the same on this one. I'm going to cut the top one, and I can also indicate with a snip that's the allowance I've got for the facing, and that's the allowance I've got for the tie. Okay, I'm going to get this to a stage where we get to the interesting bit here, and I'll show you how to put this together. You'll also need to draft a tie, and you can make that as long as you want. You can have really big long ties, or you can have little short ones, or a little chunky bow. Your choice. So cut yourself strips for ties too. When you're cutting out a complex facing piece like this, you might find it easier to block fuse your interfacing on the back. Otherwise, if you cut fabric and interfacing, it's quite difficult to get them both stuck down in the correct position. So interface your piece of fabric first as one whole piece, and then cut out your facing. You get much accurate pieces of facing around this complicated shape. Now I'm cut out, it's just a simple case of following the pattern as if you were making it, but you've obviously got just a slightly different way to sew that neckline, and I'm going to put that bit together with you. I'm not going to put the whole top. So if you want to sew along of New Look 6483, there's definitely one here that you can go and follow if you're new to sewing and you just want to work out how to put facings in because you're new. First thing you want to do is to stay stitch the neckline, especially around this curve where you've cut across the grain of the fabric. This will mean you can handle this and move your facing around without stretching your keyhole out of shape. It's at this point now, before you put the facing on, that you add anything that you want to sandwich between the facing and the top. So if you're putting a collar on, then you would be tacking that on and then putting your facing on top. If you're putting a button loop on, you put that on now. If you're putting ties on like me, then you need to position those where we created those little notches. Tack these in place in the seam allowance, and then we're ready to put the facing on top. My top is sleeveless, so I'm going to use the facing method where I have the back split open and I pull the arms through the shoulders. You can see that in a facing video, but you want to position the keyhole bit first. So line up all of this area. Remember, you've got a 1 centimetre allowance, or whatever the seam allowance is that you allowed in your pattern draft, and pin everything in position really securely so that when you sew it, nothing is going to move. You could also tack it if you wanted a little bit more security. Just need to do a little bit of working there, look, to get everything to sit correctly. Okay, I'm coming around the neckline and I can feel the ties here. So I want this seam line to come right up to the top of the tie. So I'm going to use my fingers. I'm also going to mark it so that you can see. I'm aiming for here. And the bottom of the tie is here. So at that point is where I'm going to pivot and start the keyhole. Make sure that you're not catching the tie, it's not under here. And if you find it easier, you can tack this area so that you're not dealing with pins. Keep your facing seams open so that you're not getting lots of bulk on the shoulders. You'll need to do some fabric handling now because this is a curve, so when it turns out we want to release all of this fabric. So snip the curve close to the seam line, but of course not through it. You can take off any bulk here. And I'm going to clip the arm curves and the neck, and then I can turn everything through the shoulders. Okay, this all needs a really good press. If you want to, you can do any understitching, so you won't be able to get all the way down to here, but you could do some understitching if you want to. It depends. If you've got a loose facing, you can get there really easily. If you've got everything enclosed like this, it's very, very difficult. So you'll be relying on your iron to make sure that the facing is rolled to the back. Okay, you might find now that because you've opened up the front, you don't need the back split at the back. I did need to cut the back pieces separately so that I could pull them through the arms, but that doesn't necessarily mean I need to put the actual split with the button at the back. So I'm going to sew up the sides, try it on, and if I can get it over my head really comfortably because I've got this extra space created at the front, then I will sew this all the way up to the top and just join the facings. If you're making something with sleeves, then it might be that you can eliminate the back altogether and just have one continuous facing here and cut your back piece on the fold. Having this keyhole opening does create more space for getting the garment on and off. Okay, so this is the top. So you could have short ties and have it open, or you could tie to get your keyhole shape. I've got a twill fabric here, so it's a little bit thicker, not quite as drapey as a challis, but it's got a really nice soft hand to it. So you can have a more teardrop shape, you can have a round shape, a longer shape, and it's tied at the top. I've got a centre back seam down here which works well in this fabric, and the facing goes all the way around and includes the arms. The second technique is better if you've got a drapier fabric. So this is the same pattern, the New Look pattern, but this time I've put the keyhole on the back. So I've still got that centre back seam. I didn't necessarily need it, but that was how I cut it. And the order in which you do this is you bind the keyhole first, and then you bind around the neckline and extend the length of the ties. So then this one has a tie at the back. If you're working on a short amount of fabric, because this New Look pattern is good for that, then you might want to cut your bias out of a big square. If you try and cut bias strips on the bias of the fabric, it takes up quite a lot of fabric. So you can find out a technique in this video here, which is where you cut a square and you roll it round and you cut it into one continuous strip. That way, if you're using up scraps to make a small summer top, you've only used a little bit for the top and the back, and you can use the minimal amount for binding. And it looks better as well if it's round the arms as well, because it all looks coherent. Don't try and do this with strips of fabric not cut on the bias. You'll get into all sorts of trouble. You'll have lots of rippling around here. Your tie won't drape the same because it will be cut on the straight grain, and you do get joins, but if you work them nicely you can't see them and it uses less fabric. But you definitely need to have these pieces cut on the bias. If all of that pattern drafting is a bit beyond you, but you really do like that feature, then a pattern that simulates this is the Sudley dress and top pattern by Megan Nielsen. I have this pattern because I'm wearing it right now. This is the collared version. This one has a rick-rack finish around here, and my cutout keyhole is at the back, but you can have it on the front or the back if you use this pattern. So if this is something you want to pursue, but you want it to be all done for you and have your hand held, then the Sudley Megan Nielsen pattern is the one for you. Once you've mastered this and you've got the hole correct and you like the feel of it and it's in the correct position, it's not collapsing or anything, then you can start to add different features then to your neckline. So then you can add a collar with the tie in the middle, a ruffle, a stand-up like little pie crust ruffle, and add the tie. You can put a rick-rack finish in there, so you can then start to really take it to a new place and add your own style. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. It was something a little bit different, and we would love to see what you've been making. So do head over to Minerva, make a free account there and share your makes. It's really good to see everyone's photographs and little descriptions of what they've been up to. There's lots of inspiration there too from other Minerva makers, so it might help you along with your next project. You can also subscribe for free over on YouTube to our Minerva YouTube channel, where there's loads of playlists to get stuck into. Sew-alongs, learn to sew lists, pattern drafting, latest fabric releases, and of course our fabric masterclass. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon.